Ta-da! Yeehaw. Hello! I'm Avital.
Jason. Hello.
And we are once again talking about my character, Rasha Sharav, human dervish dancer. We're going over the 3 years that I was in his campaign. And his campaign, he ran it for 15 years, which is a long time. A very long time, I think, personally. I mean, you know, D&D camp 15, that's amazing. That's really amazing.
It was fun.
I was only in for the last 3 years because, you know, I didn't know him before then. But yeah, it was called the Chronicles of Naboria, and the world was his own making. Naboria was, you know. It was run in a mashup of D&D 3.5 and Pathfinder 1. Mostly D&D. Like, the character sheets were mostly D&D and took, like, different classes and a few different things from Pathfinder, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you said? Yep.
Some class features for certain things, and because they did it better, are more akin to what my imagination thought it should be like, and then mythic stuff. And everything else is pretty much 3.5,
stuff.
3.0, but whatever.
So, last time, where did we finish off last time?
Dina.
Oh, yes, okay, so, last time, we were in Moadina. Hello. Last time, Rasha was in Moadina, one of the towns in Rumadan, which is where she's from, and she, with the help of some people that she had found, which were NPCs, had released this face of a god from imprisonment in a temple of a different god. And in the process, it wrecked the temple. She didn't personally wreck the temple.
Parts of the town, too.
Yeah, parts of the town, too.
Like the downtown area.
It was a big thing. But it was an evil temple and an evil god. And
an evil city, and some innocent people died, too. But that's okay.
Right. I mean, it was not okay, but, you know.
Collateral damage.
It happens. She's chaotic good.
Right.
She doesn't live up to that as much as some people, but she definitely does live up to it. And then after that point, she went back and talked to home to Riyadh and talked to the Sultan. It wasn't a very long thing. She talked to him about the fact that she had finished traveling around the desert and telling everyone about the incoming Illithid invasion. And she talked to him about the fact that she was now the ruler, accidentally.
I have a city?
Now the ruler of Asarudin.
And he's like, you gotta make a decision.
Yeah.
After she's like, I don't know if I want to do that or what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So. But, Grevin had taken her to Riyadh, and then I think he then also dropped her off in Esarudin. Or no, he was there. Yes, he was, because he had his, like, holdings in his temple to check on in Esarudin.
Right.
Oh, I forgot. Let me just... Yeah. There we go. This map, Jason made this map, by the way. It's this whole map. This is the whole world. It's awesome. So,
thanks.
We were in Moadina, and then we went back to Riyadh, and then over to Asarudin. Hooray for teleportation!
Yep.
It's the bestest.
It is helpful.
Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, that's right now.
Asarudin. Currently ruled by Rasha Sharav, who is the Desert Wind, kind of on accident, which is like a legendary thing. She carries a legendary sword called the Desert Wind. Is that from Pathfinder or D&D?
That's D&D.
That's D&D, okay.
Weapons of Legacy.
Weapons of Legacy, alright.
It's also reprinted in the Tome of Battle, I think.
Okay. I just know that, like, there is an actual picture of the Desert Wind that I have that I gave to the artist. The picture! Did I show the picture? I did. I've already shown the picture of Rasha. I could show it again, though.
Just scroll down.
What? Oh, no, it should be actually under this.
I would scroll down and where you were.
What? No. And just drive?
In Naboria. Like, I know where it is.
I don't. I don't think it's
keep
in
talking. There. It may not be, but keep telling yourself I'll look.
Anyways. So yeah. Sorry, the ADHD, and the brain. Anyways, so she headed back with Gravin, who is one of the other PCs, and is also a god, like, reborn, and is kind of coming to terms with that at this point in his story. I don't think you actually saved it ever. But so they went back to Asarudin, and Rasha went to talk to Shlomo, who was the man that her friends had said could run the city while she was absent. And she, didn't know him before, but she was like, okay, because she had to do things. Ah, yes, this is Rasha. This is the art I commissioned. It's super cool. I love her so much. And yeah, I love her very much. So she went to talk to Shlomo, because at this point they were still working on how to get slavery out of the city, because Rasha was not okay with that. Shlomo, being the lawful evil character that he was like, but it's the most lucrative, okay, if you insist, then I guess we'll work on that.
It was taking time, because it's not easy to...
But Rasha was like, I don't actually want to rule this city anymore. I want to give it to you, but we gotta get the slavery out first. And Shlomo was like, that is going to take a lot. He's like, if we're going to do that, he's like, we have to, there's, he listed off several people in the city that were like the biggest people.
Slaving families and like
involved.
Owners. And I mean, it's a commodity. A lot of the economy of that culture was based on slavery, because where it is in the world and what they're okay with that other people aren't and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And so it would be not a quick thing to overcome.
Yeah.
Because to just abolish it means that there is a lot of economic backlash and a loss of profits for a long time. I'm not condoning this. I'll say this right now.
Like IRL, obviously. This is just in the game and how those people would have thought about it.
Yeah, exactly. What
those
this
people
evil
that
person
were not good people.
And like also, we're worried about these sorts of things, as well. Like looking at history and arguments for and against it in even our own country's past. That was one of them. So yeah, I figured that'd be utilize history to make a game a little more realistic and make you not like the bad guys just a little that much more, even if you have to work with them. Yep. That was the whole idea there.
And Rasha said, okay, I want to do that now. And Shlomo's like, whoa. Okay, listen, listen, like, hold up. You can't just do that out of nowhere. He's like, you need a lot of people and
planning and work.
And Rasha's like, okay, let's go. We're gonna do that then. So, does she first goes to Carnoasis to ask about help, I believe, because that's when she then, at Carnoasis, they, the High Priestess gets a hold of Moro and Alia, right?
That makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So they went to Carnoasis, which is a super cool city. And so, again, it must have still been Graven with her. It must have, because otherwise...
Yes.
Yeah, because the teleportation and everything. Yeah.
But no. Yes, at this point, yes.
Yeah.
Because I know Anton comes soon.
Ragnar is there, too.
Yeah, that's right.
For that bit, at least. Yeah. So, they are I don't remember which comes first, asking friends for help or going to Carnoasis
I believe
first.
asking friends for help
came
first.
For help.
It's like, let's go to the people we know right now, which is why, like, Ragnar and Anton and...
Yeah, so we got some of the PCs to help.
Bunch of people
the ones
showed up.
that in the storyline were free at that point in time to come, help liberate this city. Liberate, sort of, get rid of the slavery and the slavers. So we had Ragnar and Anton for sure. Anyone else besides Moro and Alia? And maybe Graven?
This is when, like, Ryan couldn't be there, right?
Probably. Yeah, I don't think he was there.
Yeah, Ragnar. Belmont wasn't there because Ryan was around. Nikolai was there.
This didn't happen.
Right. Nikolai was there.
Nikolai was?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that didn't happen. Wait, are you sure Nikolai was there?
I'm pretty sure he was there.
Okay. Anyways, so she got friends to help. But they knew that there would still have to be, like, more people to help. And I think maybe she went to Carnoasis
Aramar was
first.
there?
Yeah, no, but listen, this is how it went. Went to Carnoasis, and they went to Carnoasis, and they talked to the Sultan and the High Priestess of Miliana there. And the High Priestess of Miliana said, I think I know people that can help. And she called on Alia, and therefore Moro, and they showed up there. And then...
In Esarudin.
No, in Carnoasis. And then we went to a city and got Aramar and the one guild. And, like, hired mercenaries.
Yeah, you went back to...
We hired mercenaries to come because we needed, like, amounts of people.
And that's where you got
Not
Ragnar.
just, like, heroes, yeah.
Because he was there for that also.
Yeah.
That's right.
Again, this was an unplanned thing that Avital, like, kind of decided to just do. And so we don't have a lot of it written down. So
We're remembering
as we go.
But you also did this. Like, you did this before.
No,
Esarudin.
that was not before.
Yeah.
It was not. It was definitely after, because that's why...
Oh, that's right, because she's the thing that did... She did that to
only
Anton, that's
Anton
right.
was there, because
That's
the other ones had left.
So that's why it is Aramar, Anton, Ragnar.
Yeah.
Because they're in Milovich.
Was it Milovich?
Yeah, Milovich is where the Shadow Daggers... Or, no, the Shadow Daggers. The Twilight's Blade is housed out of.
Okay. Alright. Yeah, okay. I thought it was... Why? I could have sworn it was somewhere I hadn't been before. That's where Aramar is in Milovich?
I mean, he could have been in Milovich or Merrigan, but it was most likely Milovich if it was the celebration of Bestine, because that's where that happens. There's a whole tradition that goes...
There wasn't anything about the celebration of Bestine.
Yeah, not for you, not on your side. I know. This is why I'm saying this is how I know it's Milovich, because on the other side, that's what they were there doing. Because it's a celebration, a 2-week celebration, specifically in Navias, from Gregoth over to Milovich, that they party through the mountains. They take 2 weeks to get there. It doesn't usually take that long. They just take that long to get there.
Gotcha.
And begin it in Gregoth and end it, because other characters started that thing a long time ago, and it's one of those things that happens every year that PCs that were still playing go to, because they're like, no, this is a fun time, and we see old friends. So that's what was going on, and that's why Anton was there, because,
obviously, Anton.
Belmont would have also been there, but
PC
was not there.
Sure, makes sense.
He could not.
The player
join you.
was not there. Yeah.
And Aramar was there, and I forget who played him. It could have been Byron. Could have been, and I don't know. Could have been anybody playing him.
I don't remember. I think Alexander was there too.
Yeah, he was totally there because he would have been. Yeah.
Alexander was definitely there because I remember.
And because he would also be at the festival.
Mac being there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's a home thing again. Like he is around at the era when that thing was created. So like.
Sure. No, makes sense.
And so is Ragnar.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So that's why it was Milovich.
We went. Moro and Alia said. Someone had the idea of going and hiring.
It was Moro.
Yeah, I was gonna, because it wasn't Rasha.
Like,
that's
oh,
sure.
we got these guys. We know these guys.
So they went to Milovich and.
I swore Ryan was there. Because I remember this because.
No. Because not too long after this, we have to go and.
No, that doesn't mean Treskin isn't there. That means I think Ryan was here.
Okay,
though.
yeah, Ryan was there.
That's what I mean. Because I think he maybe played Aramar, actually.
Yeah, he may have played, but it doesn't matter. But
I mean, it does in my brain because I remember things that were going on. I'm just like, who was there? And it helps me remember the whole thing. So yeah, Ryan was there. He was playing Aramar. Yeah, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, so it was Moro, the player, who is a player character, his idea to go and hire these group of mercenaries called the
Twilight's Blade.
Twilight's Blade.
It was led by Aramar.
Led by Aramar, who wasn't he? Is he a former PC?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a former PC, which means like he's a little bit cooler than a normal NPC. Got a few more tricks up his sleeve.
And he's a drow.
Yes, and
so
he's
I
a
think
drow.
that's why Ryan played him.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Because later I was going to tie their stories in together anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay. Yeah. So, yeah.
Uh-huh. So they set this up, and so Rasha.
I think Gravin brought some of his people also.
Yeah, that seems possible.
Yeah, because I know he was there.
Yeah, of course he was. He's now invested in the city.
Yeah.
So I don't remember exactly what happened because I know.
I want to bet that Nanashi was there also.
That seems quite possible. Maybe.
Because he's not down with slavery.
Yeah. No.
Actually, I know he was there because something else happened with this. Never mind. Yep, he was. I'm pretty sure he was there.
Thanks.
I'm betting like all the Royal Flush gang was there. Again.
Not like actually there, but like the players.
Yeah.
Because Treskin wasn't there.
Right, Treskin wasn't.
He was
Stanek may not have been, but I thought he was.
No,
he wasn't because
Treskin,
he'd be playing.
Well, okay. Treskin technically could have been there. I don't know. He might have been doing other things
I think he was doing
because
other things.
Ragnar was there.
Yeah.
But then Ragnar was with Treskin later.
Right.
Not that long after.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure Treskin was actually not
Treskin
there.
was actually not there. Yeah, he was doing other things.
Treskin is a.
And I think
half-drow.
Stanek. I actually think Stanek was not there.
Yeah.
And
I don't think
that Christian was playing.
Someone.
He was playing the guy who runs the city.
Oh yeah, Shlomo, because his old character.
His former character. Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, he was. He definitely was. So. Exact sequence of events is a bit hazy. So, Rasha, once they got that figured out, I think when she was sent back to Asarun to talk to Shlomo about it and said, okay, I have these people, we're doing this now. And Shlomo was like, okay. And Alia sets up a teleportation circle in,
Asarun.
No, in...
Oh, yeah. In Milovich.
Probably in the tower, I think it was.
Yeah.
And then all these people are coming through, like, into the temple, and Shlomo's
just
like...
Currently. Yeah, lots of people. It's like, okay, I guess they're going to pull this off.
Okay, this is happening now, I guess. All right,
So he gets on board, seeing that there is no way out of this. He's like, all right, well, these people live here, and you can expect these things, and it kind of gives them a rundown on, like, what's going on in the city.
Right,
There are 3 different places to worry about.
Yeah, there's 3, and we split up, like, the PCs or the PCs playing NPCs as to different places. Ragnar and Rasha went to the temple.
Mm-hmm. The temple of the temple of the serpent. The temple of Mershulk. Where the Huanti are. And, you faced that chick.
I burned some people.
Yeah. Huanti are
bad people.
Flaming
sword.
They're bad people.
With my legendary sword.
Yeah,
that was one of the only times I actually used
that. That was like town number 872 that you guys destroyed the Serpent Temple in. The Serpent Temple did not like your group, but you just kept punching him in the face, so like they couldn't do anything. It's like we don't expect, and crap, they're here punching us. How the heck? Every time you don't even know what they're doing or their plots. You just Serpent Temple. Like they didn't even ask this time. They just punched us. It's like how you deal with Nazis.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 You don't ask. You're just like, you got to swatch it?
Bam.
No tolerance for intolerance.
That's right. Anyways, so they set it up. So obviously this is happening in the night, and they were all happening at the same time. So there was the temple, and then like a couple other sort of like trading families or something.
Yeah. One was a sorcerer.
Merchant. Oh yeah. No, that's the sorcerer that I like at one point paid. No, that's Gravin wasn't there because I had to go and find that sorcerer, and I paid him to teleport me to Karn Oasis.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
You did. Yeah, you did. Yeah, that's right.
I remember now. And then we came back and took him out.
And Phil played somebody.
Because Gravin had to go off, and after he checked on his temple, I think he had to go off and do stuff.
That makes sense because he's.
Then I was like, no, I need to get places, and so I went to Karn Oasis, and then we were relying on Alia's teleportation,
right,
to get us around. Yeah. Okay.
And Anton can also get you around.
Right, Anton. Yeah.
That's right, and that sorcerer was a slaver, had his own like not a tower, but his own like complex, and was like a.
Yeah, but like as a player, Avital did not want to wait to get this dealt with because I wanted to be able to just be free to go. This is not something I wanted as a player or as a character to be like ruling a city. Now other people like had do things like that. I was like, that was not for me. So I was like, Avital as a player also wanted to get this done quickly. So Rasha is asking Shlomo, is there someone in the city that can like teleport me somewhere? And he's like,
there's this
for
guy.
a price. And she's like, that's fine, I have money. It doesn't matter.
Right. So there's that guy, and who you come back later, and he's like, so who are what's going on here? It's like, well, here are the companies we have to raid, and then, if you really want to end it, these are the people who do it, and you got to go in, you just got to put them all down. Because other than that, it's just going to come back. It's going to keep blossoming like a dirty
as much
flower.
as possible, from Rasha's point of view, she was trying to... so in the temple, they had to take people out because those people were like...
Well, they had to take people out everywhere, but that's
right.
all right.
No, but listen... You let me finish talking. Rasha's point of view was to try as much as possible to capture people and put them like legally to trial because like she's still a good character. She doesn't necessarily want to just like kill a bunch of.
Oh, that's right. Some were captured, weren't
they? That was what.
So it was like one of the noble houses was. I don't think the sorcerer was. I'm pretty sure the sorcerer went down kicking.
Probably seems likely.
I really forget who Phil played. I'm pretty certain Phil played somebody.
He did.
Anyway.
Was Ryan there?
Yeah, I know Ryan was there. Yeah.
Anyways, so Rasha and Ragnar go into the temple and they mostly just them take the temple out.
We had some guys with you.
Yeah, we had some, but a lot of them went to other places since there were two of us going to that one place.
No, what I mean is you had like regular old mercenary soldiers with you.
Yeah, I know.
So it's like a whole ransacking, like...
Yeah, no. I know.
Not just the two of you taking out the temple.
I didn't say it was just the two of us.
I thought I swore you just said that.
No, I said, yes, there were some people with us, but we didn't need, like, quite as many since there were 2 PCs going to that place.
I think it was about 2 or 3 to each one.
Doesn't matter. No, there weren't that many. Some of them it was only 1. Oh, because we had Alexander too, but...
Yeah.
There might have been more than 3 places, I think. Anyways, doesn't matter that much. The exact specifics. We took the major tenets of slavery, those people, out of Asaruddin.
Or captured them and put them on trial.
Right. Took them out of Asaruddin, like, out of commission.
And freed the slaves.
But part of the reason that we were doing this was that we had to, and Shlomo, explained this, and Rasha was like, okay, that makes sense. Seize the assets of these people to support the city as it gets over not having the income from slavery. And again, Rasha doesn't necessarily understand all these things.
That's
right?
exactly
and she's like,
what Shlomo said.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yes. Take them out and give me all their stuff, and we'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a good guy.
No, but again, this is also part of the reason why Rasha never wanted to take any money from this city, because it made its money off slavery. She was just like, I don't need it, I don't want it.
Yeah, it's dirty.
No, just none of that. So they did that, and they took care of it. And so this also means that the people that would have been most opposed to a non-Rumadani individual ruling the city were also out of commission.
Or dead.
And so once that was all over, most of the people went back.
I think there was I believe that there was a temple to Azkar here also, a smaller one.
Oh, okay.
Of the Black Priests, but anyway, yeah. So you guys. So
most of the people went back. Actually, Aramar kind of stayed for a bit, just because part of the deal of him helping, besides getting paid, is that he's able to set up an outpost or whatever you call it of the Twilight's Blade in Asarudin, I believe, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So he was working on setting that up.
Mm-hmm.
And once everything was all settled down, most of the PCs went back, except I think Anton.
Yeah, Anton stuck around because he wanted to check up on the Temple of Hieratus. So, I think Gravin asked him to.
Yeah, that's right. Gravin asked him to.
And and that's when the next thing happens. Not long after that. I think you were headed...
Stop. We're not ready to talk about that yet.
Okay.
Rasha first talks about...
Yeah, I was just making conversation.
I know. I thought you were... We have...
No. We can go.
Making conversation... We're telling the story in the way that it goes. Because I was about to get to the... Anyways, Rasha talks to Shlomo and says, okay, I don't want the city anymore now. And he, he's lawful evil, so he, pulls up all the papers and everything. And he's got everything ready for her. He probably had it ready already for her to sign. She's like, okay, there you go, it's yours. And then she had she was diplomatic papers as protector.
Yeah, something like
of
that.
Asarudin or something. Because she still matters there. But
the people
she has
really like you there.
Right, of
because
course.
you freed them.
Really like me.
Many of them, and
took out and Shlomo was very grateful. Of course he was, and he's like, I'm gonna give you something for this. He's like, thank you so much, because now he's got a city and he's set up for life better than he was as a merchant back wherever the heck he was. Greygoth, yeah, he is set for life. He's good here.
He has some bad things go down in Navias and Greygoth, so now he's like, oh, I got a chance here, let's do this.
Yeah, he's like, all right, cool, this is good, this is great. So after Rasha signs the city over to Shlomo, he says, I'm gonna give you something, and he goes and he gets a really big emerald. It's worth
it was the one that was on his hat, actually.
Okay. It was 10k gold worth emerald or whatever.
It's a honking huge emerald.
And Rasha's like, okay. So she stuck it in her bag of holding, and it stayed there to the end of the campaign.
Yeah, it's still there.
No. Okay, so, you know what? We're not there yet, but at the end of the campaign, when some things went to some other places, my headcanon is that it just went back to him, just appeared back to him, and he's like, what?
That's funny. You're like, nice. Things always just pop up here, whatever.
He's like, anyways. So stuff has calmed down in the city of Asaroon a little bit, slightly. Not calmed down, but it's more like Rasha can move on.
Yeah, because it definitely doesn't calm down for a minute in Asaroon. There are like
it's not calming
labor
down,
riots and
but Rasha
there's a bunch of things that happen.
Has divulged herself of her responsibility.
Yeah, you did.
So then we move on to the next thing that Rasha does. How did Rasha find out about this? Was she was looking for something, right? Or
yeah, I forget what you were looking for. Actually,
I don't remember why we were. Did someone tell us that? So there's a slave caravan going through that they were gonna. I don't know if it was coming towards the city.
Yeah, that's what it was. And you were alerted that there's one coming into the city to trade, because not everybody else. This happened like.
It was kind of like right after. Yeah, we had done the.
So like word hasn't got out everywhere else that this had happened. So
there's no slavery
like
in
Orc would
Asaroon
still come
anymore.
into the bay, and what like. Mm-hmm. No one knows that it's not a slave trading city anymore.
So we got word that this caravan was heading towards the city, and so Rasha and Anton went out to confront them, or to find them at least, right, or whatever. Anyway, to find them and do something about it, maybe as sneakily as possible. So we went out, we traveled out into the desert. I think probably we flew or something, because that would be faster than.
Yeah, but I mean, it was a long ways. Regardless, it still took a long time to get to.
Not like a month or anything, but.
Oh, this didn't happen in Moadina, so yeah, it was like
different. Yeah.
Because the time stuff. Yeah, it was like 6 days or something like that.
So Anton, who at this point is he just like a
cleric? Oh, I'm sorry, sorcerer.
Sorcerer. He's not a half. Yeah. Okay. Not yet.
He's a dragon sorcerer.
He's a dragon sorcerer. So that. They found where the caravan was and where it was going to be coming, and he set up one of those like invisible house things or whatever, mansion or whatever.
Oh, magnificent mansions,
I believe. And then we were watching. Can you look out of those into the real world? Yeah. So we were watching as like the caravan was coming past, and so as it is coming past. There's this lady who stopped and stared directly at where we were.
Yes, she did.
As the whole rest of the caravan kept going past. And then, once the whole caravan was past, she moved on with it at that point. And so we're like, okay. This lady knows something. So...
Unbeknownst to them, she was a sorcerer.
Yeah.
A sorceress.
A sorceress.
Her name was Hermantra the Slaver.
I wonder what she did for a living.
Right.
So, I feel like some of these aren't exactly quite right as to what happened, just because of. Did we attack it, or what did we do?
So you try to sneak in. So they stop and they put up guard
down.
like the normal thing, But Hermantra knew that someone was out there in a magical door behind them. She's like. Okay, guard, set up a watch and whatnot. So you have to sneak in, which you can do. Sneaking into the camp was not hard.
Sure.
It was using...
I'm very sneaky.
Rasha's not...
She's a scout.
not a rogue.
A rogue, so she can...
So opening locks and doing that type of stuff is not, like, freeing people. You'd have to use a sword. Basically, you realize you didn't have a stealthy way to free the slaves.
Mm-hmm. So I think... Did we talk to some of the slaves before?
You did.
Yeah. So, we found a Minotaur, and the Minotaur, I think honestly before Rasha said like much of anything, he was like, I know who you are. Rasha's like, what? What? Mm-hmm. Huh? He's like, you're the desert wind, And then Rasha's thinking back to like, that time, months and months ago, when she was running through the desert and released a Minotaur from a caravan and told him, if anyone asks who set you free, tell them it was the desert wind. And she's like, Oh. Oh, yeah.
I keep on themes.
So there's a minotaur that they talk to.
And he tells him, you know.
Don't they tell them this like after?
Yeah. This is how they go afterwards.
Yeah.
And this guy just like, I know you. Yes, if you can free me, I will help you. Basically, he was like, yeah, I'll help if you get me out of these chains, I'll kill all these slavers. This guy was not down with what's going on.
Mm-hmm. There was a lizard folk lady that they talked to and a half-orc lady that they talked to also, who were willing to help if they could get them free. So I don't remember exactly what we did. Did we... Right. We broke their chains, and then that's, when the fight started.
And I believe also Anton, it's because some of the guard were hanging around the fire.
Oh. Uh-huh.
And I think that he, cast some spells and then did some stuff over there so you could...
Right.
More sneakily free them, so it would be a little chaos.
However, it still didn't come into battle at that point. And the battle was going more well for our part, and then her mantra hit. So he was kind of dragony at that point, wasn't he? Flying around. He was flying around.
Sure
he was in like a dragon form, flying around. Anton was, and her mantra hits him with feeble mind, and he does not make any save or whatever. And so he's just kind of like, ugh. And Rasha's like, oh, great. So Rasha finishes the fight. I don't think she kills...
You kill her.
I did actually
Yes, you killed her.
Oh, that's right. She wasn't supposed to.
No, she teleported away after... Well, contingencies are a thing, right? So...
I killed her, but not...
You kill her. And I didn't think that was going to happen, but it did. So this sorceress's dead body shows up at the feet of her master.
Who's your master?
Lorzathan.
Oh, the dragon, the blue dragon that's the head of the Hashin, the slavers in Rubidan?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Who already doesn't like me. Not that he specifically knows at this point that Rasha did it, but you probably guess.
I mean, one spell, it's done. Speak with dead. Who killed you? The desert wind. Yeah, it's easy.
I never actually,
all the behind-the-scenes
I end
stuff.
up never encountering this guy, personally.
They try.
We get real close.
And,
in a minute...
Things just do this,
We get real close, but it doesn't happen. Thankfully. So then at this point, Rasha is left with a bunch of slaves to free, and a dragon who is her friend, who is feeble-minded.
Derpy friend dragon.
So she talks to the slaves, and a lot of them, I believe, since we're kind of out in the desert, they went off to Carnoasis or other places.
Yeah,
right?
That was
I think, closer maybe at that point a little bit.
Yeah.
Or they felt they would be safer there.
Yeah, because they're like, you say Asrudin's free, but it's Asrudin.
So most of them head off to Asrudin. However,
Carnoasis.
Yeah, to Carnoasis. The Minotaur, the lizard folk, and the half-orc at this point, says the Minotaur says that he wants to go to Igerlon, which is in
Goblin Lands.
The Goblin Lands, which is... Alright, I'll show you.
It's right there.
Right here.
It's in Surtur.
Surtur is... The orcs are. And Igerlon is there. Igerlon, so if you...
Nestled in the mountains. It's actually
It's kind of half underground. It's kind of also connected to the Drow, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a deep city of nastiness.
Mm-hmm.
And a slaving city.
Yeah, and that's isn't that where the Goblin King is and stuff?
That's Urgbuzek.
Oh, that's Urgbuzek. Okay, anyways. So, the Minotaur wants to go to Igerlon. The half-orc...
Well, why does he want to go?
Oh, he wants to go to Igerlon to free his tribe from slavery.
Mm-hmm.
He knows that brute force isn't really going to work. Got to be more sneaky. So, he knows the Desert Wind could help him with that. The lizard folk has somewhere she wants to go, to her swamp in Westgrove across the Hamara Sea.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's what I see, the Hamara Sea.
See Westgrove?
Oh yeah, look at that. Huh. But until then, she'll help.
Mm-hmm.
And the half-orc also wants to go to Agarlon. She wants to find the orc that her father, that took advantage of her mother.
Yeah.
And left her with this unwanted life and kill him.
Yeah.
Okay. So, they all think that the Desert Wind can help them out. But they say that in the desert as all the other slaves go off, and then these three say that they will stay with Rasha and help her.
And they're basically asking. Really, they're asking the Desert Wind for help.
They're asking the Desert Wind specifically for
help. The
help.
lizard folk, like, can you help me get home? But if you can, I'll join you with the Minotaur, right? The half orc is like, Agarlon, yeah, I want to go there, kill my father.
Yeah, she's very intense.
Yeah, extremely. Mac was playing her.
Yeah, no, I remember. Mac was playing her. Yep.
I forget who's playing the Minotaur. Who was playing the lizard folk? Well,
the lizard folk was of
Phil.
course Phil.
Yes.
Anyways,
because the lizard folk
wasn't a lizard folk. Anyways,
actually wasn't lizard folk.
Next time you'll hear about that next time.
It was a play all along.
Yeah. However, Anton is a derpy dragon at this point.
Yeah.
And so he is a song dragon.
Yeah. That's a song dragon.
But actually, before Rasha talks to the slaves, she's like, "Hold up, guys, 1 second. I gotta calm him down." And song dragons, they like art and performance and stuff like that. So Rasha does a dance for him.
Oh.
And he's like, oh, nice. And chills out a little bit. He's still derpy, but like he's not.
I mean, yeah, that's just because
she would just wanted to make sure he was like.
So Feeble Mind is a spell that is, if you miss a save, it's permanent until you get you wish or miracle or something to undo it. Your intelligence and charisma go down to 1.
Yeah.
Permanently.
Yeah.
It's nasty, and
it's
one of my
nasty.
favorite spells to use.
But yeah, so once the other slaves have headed off, and she's talked to the 3 that have asked for her help.
You guys go back to Asarudin.
Yes, I was about to say that.
Yeah.
Do we travel back, or does he teleport us?
You travel. He can't teleport you back.
He can't teleport us back.
That's why his charisma and
he can fly though, right? He's flying.
He can fly, yeah, but they can't
kind of
teleport you.
Direct him.
He's dumb and not very cool right now.
So we make it back to Asarudin.
Took you days.
Yeah, I mean, probably again like 6-7 days, like a week or whatever.
And you had to come up with a plan to get to Agarlon also.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
Right. I'm just saying things.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I just don't want to lose things with my ADHD brain, and jump ahead and lose things. It happens. It happens to me very, very much.
Ahead.
Yes. No, we are.
That's the next thing.
No, it's not. Hold on. So, they get back to Asarudin, and Rasha. Rasha shows up, with a dragon and 3 individuals. It was like, Shlomo, I need a place for him to stay for a while, and Rasha uses her Stone of Sending to send a message to Gravid, be like, hey, when you can you please come to Asarudin and do something about Anton? He's messed up in the head. And I think Gravid responds with, I will as soon as I can, because he can't right away, which is why Anton isn't able to come with him and help. So then Rasha, has agreed at this point to go to Agarlon and help out with this sort of quest in general. So I think it's mostly just they, set up supplies and stuff and head out, right? Because
not just. That's what I mean. Like, you had to come up with how are you getting there. Posing as slaves is what you have to do to get in. Some of you.
We didn't have any kind of plan until we ran into our friends in the middle of on the way there, remember? We didn't really have a plan.
Who did you run into on the way there?
Do you remember? It was Zero Null and There
that was
several
like
people.
almost all the way.
I know, but we didn't really have much of a plan. Like, I didn't really know like anything. I don't think.
Yeah, because this guy would have been like, we're not just walking in there.
Yeah.
Like,
sure.
you'd have to have somehow. You may have not come up with the specific like where this person
right.
is this and stuff, but like you had to plan somewhat.
Yeah.
You don't.
Somebody has to.
One does
pose
not
as
just
a
walk
slave,
into Igerlon.
and someone is. Obviously, no, but that we didn't have like a specific plan. Is what I'm saying. So we travel. We travel through the desert. You can see.
For a long time. That's actually not a bad. Well.
Once we meet friends in the desert, then we'll stop. Because there's not much to say at that point.
No, because everything else is. It's the next adventure is.
No, I know, but like.
Pretty killer.
Yeah, I know. Trust me.
I'm saying that I'm talking to not just you, love.
Yeah. Anyway, so they travel from Asarudan to Igalon, and I think it's they're probably maybe somewhere around here.
Mm-hmm. In the pass.
In the pass. And
decided to skip Bahadina.
Yeah. Simply, they are kind of aware that it's not necessarily that favorable.
Yep.
Not the most favorable, perhaps.
The other people who were coming out of Bahadina, actually, and that's why you met them on the road.
But yeah. So we ran into, we were fighting something. We ran into, like, what did we run into?
Was it a chimera?
Maybe chimera. Yeah, chimera, I think. And we were fighting these chimera, and then we run into some other people along the way. People that we know. All those people were there?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah.
All right. So
the 5. Yeah.
We
plus,
run into
plus Jenya plus some other people.
Jenya, who is a friend and a player character.
Because the rest you've not met before.
And then a bunch of NPCs.
A bunch of wizards.
Yes, wizards. Would you read the names, please?
Yep. Arlen, who is a half elf from the Trade Kingdoms. Typhus Egos, she's a half elf female. A male wizard from Salamania. Human. Yep.
Okay.
Bailen Moratal, who is a female wizard from, she was from Talaminus, but she's a Moratel now, which means black elf or outcast, essentially is what it means. Elenara Lorethian, who is also of, Bailen now stays in Racer. Elenara Lorethian is from Talaminus. Both of them are members of the Protectorate, which is a group of wizards that hunt down items and things that shouldn't be in the world, but keep them protected and safe from people finding them and messing up the world with these powerful artifacts and old things. And then Zidernol, who is a gold dwarf and is one of the only, if not the only one, gold dwarf left, whose home is now on Racier, but used to be his family's clan used to rule Igerlon. A long time ago.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Long before he was born, but it's a story he was told. And like as the last gold dwarf, he's got some issues with what's going on there.
Oh, and also, by the way, every time you say this name, I think that you are literally saying zero.
Zero null.
Null. As
Nope.
in, like, the same thing twice.
And it's Ziril.
But it's Zirilnol. Like, it sounded to me like Zero, zero, null. Like Null. That's what it sounds like. I think it's on purpose.
Ziril?
Anyways, who are those two?
Not there. Those are bad guy NPCs you run into later. They run into later. Y'all run into later.
I see.
You don't necessarily know that you run into them either.
Gotcha. So we're fighting Chimera, and Jinya's like, oh, hey, Rasha. And Rasha, who is, like, up in the air with her boots of flying, like, what? He's like, you're fine. She's like, I know, but, like, where did you come from?
So they take a mountain pass. Zirnal knows a pass into Agarlan that is not the main road that the orc take, because it's an old dwarven pass. And he has much history and knowledge about this. Christian plays him. And it is taking them in an old way. So they travel through the mountains to be less noticed.
Yeah. So...
Because as they get closer to Agarlan, well, they would see slave caravans and a bunch of... I mean, they would get seen and be out of place. And until they can get closer and get a better eye, they need to figure out how to be in place. And this is where you guys start to come up with, like, what should we do?
This is where they actually start to come up with more of an actual plan, because even though the 3 people that Rush is with know a little bit about Agarlan, this group knows more even about it. So they're able to actually start coming up with a plan. So at this point, like, out of character, there was some big arguing going on, because Jason kept saying, some people will have to pose as slaves, and only if you speak this language will you be able to pose as a slaver. And Avital was getting upset because she's like, I have this legendary sword, I can't give you, I'm not giving this to you. And Jason was calling this language by a name that wasn't the language that was listed on my sheet, even though I knew the language, but he was saying a different name as to what it said on my sheet. And I was mad. Because I was like, oh, I know this language, what are you talking about?
Which one?
I don't remember. Hold on.
It's okay. I believe you, I was curious, I'm like...
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, where's, Agarlan, just for fun? Surtur?
Uh-huh. Marbanzi.
What?
Or the Goblinoid. Marbanzi or Surtur would be the languages.
It wasn't something that was...
Or Rumadani.
No, it was some...
Work. Well, it's fine.
No, look. It's easy. Look, I'll show you. It's my sheet, guys. Where are languages? Skills?
Bottom.
Yeah. Okay. One of the... Surtur. You were saying a different word. And I was like, I don't know that, but I can't pose as a slave because I'd have to give... You were saying a different word.
Oh, Goblinoid language or whatever.
I don't remember. You were saying a different word, and I was like, I can't. Yeah. So out of character, I was like, getting worried because I was like, I can't. I have like, how give you my like crazy, cool sword that I'm the only one that's supposed to be holding or whatever, and I was like, and then I was like, yeah, and then we figured out, oh no, I'm fine. Anyways. This is my character sheet at the, at the end. But yeah. So we were heading into Agarlan, which is not a cool place. So.
That's a good...
We had to think of the plan. Some people had to pose as slaves. Some people had to pose as slavers.
I believe Zirnal and you were slavers.
Oh, there was a couple more than that.
I think Jenya was too.
Jenya and...
No, Jenya couldn't be because he didn't speak the language.
No, yeah, there was a couple more though, but he was more okay because he just fights with his fists, so he didn't have as many weapons to give up.
Yeah, he didn't need to say anything either.
Right. And there was a couple of the other ones.
It's also this is when you find out why they're there. They're there to get an Illithid, and it's kind of like why are you coming here to get an Illithid?
Like, well, we know there's one here. Rasha's just like, okay.
And we know that they're there now. Because there's an auction going on, and they knew that.
Uh-huh.
But they didn't know what for or why, or what was going on. Side note to all that as well, this is one of those. The next session we talk about is one where like most of the characters came together for a big thing. It was a big thing. I said most. And
not that many, but
yeah, quite a few actually came together for a big thing. And on the other side of what they don't know, like they're in the mountain pass walking along, right? And like as they get closer, there are larger groups of orc and not orc coming to do whatever in Igerlon, because it's kind of a crazy place. What they didn't know is within that group standing in line, somewhat behind them, is also the professor disguised as an orc, and his sidekick disguised as a slave thing that he's going to trade. So many people are coming here for many different reasons, none of them the same reason, to this one. It's always this like differing motivations, right? Mm-hmm. That can work into stories.
Also, go ahead, finish.
So if you give players different motivations to be in similar places, then when they meet, it's like, oh, or they're able to tell stories from you're able to tell stories from different sides of a story. So one group interacts with it one way, and another group gets to see what they're doing, and maybe whatever they're doing doesn't need to interact with them, but there has consequences or changes in that story on either side based on those things that happen.
Right.
And this is one of those instances.
And this is also a case in point where, at this point, Jason had been running this game for 13 years. Mm-hmm. Okay? So he was running an entire world full of some characters that had been living in this world and had things happening all over the world. So Jason had gotten past the point of running what you would think of as your typical D&D campaign. Well, here's the characters, and they're all here in the same place, and they're doing this thing, right? It's more like the world, and this character has to go and doing this thing, and this character has to go and doing this thing. And how we would do that is we would spend an entire weekend every couple months or so gaming, and when one character or had something to do just for them, then he would let the other players play NPCs and things like that. So everyone was still involved, and didn't feel left out or anything, because once it's an entire world, you just can't all the time have everyone be together.
Running something epic is a truly an epic tale, or a large scale world. To give it life, it's got to feel like it's going on its own. And if and when the characters come together, it needs to also feel organic. And that's why you just tweak motivations for characters, or do things like, okay, thing happens in this area which leads to XYZ, because that's what it will do. If I just turn the knob here, this is going to go do this, and this character's going to go in this direction. If I turn this knob over here, this character's going to go in this direction, and they'll meet here at this place. And then some story will happen there, because it should. Because if the characters, they're your main characters, right, in whatever story you're telling and running, then whatever they're doing should be the focus. And the little twists and turns are like their actions and reactions to get to those main focal points. As Doctor Who calls them, the fixed points in time.
Yeah. One thing that is good to mention is that at some point in this journey, where do you think it was? Where do you think they were along their journey when they heard something far off, but seemingly very intense?
It's about here.
It's really just a little bit after, not super long after they have met up. The two groups have met up.
You can see the cursor.
I think they can, maybe. I don't know.
Right about
the
there.
The pass there in the mountains.
Ba-boom, boom.
They hear some loud, explosion, far off, but it's just so loud, they hear it. And they obviously are just kind of huh? What is that?
That was weird.
That's so strange. Where did that even come from? That we could hear that, but it was obviously not anywhere close.
It sounded like it was, very far away, but it was
very,
it was
still very loud and
disturbing. We weren't sure what quite happened.
That's very, very strange. Like,
Sure
very
was.
strange, very strange.
Very important to note, though.
So we are at the point where we are ready with the plan. We know who's gonna pose as a slaver, who's gonna pose as a slave. Rasha is posing as a slaver because she can speak the language. Thankfully, that would have been bad otherwise. And that's where we're gonna leave off for today because the next thing is such a cool adventure, and I am so excited to talk about it.
Heart. Thanks.
Oh my gosh, just how everything.
I put a lot of work into like intricate details of how things come together, and then
and
when they do, it's usually like,
gosh,
what?
It was so cool. And it's funny. It's just funny because like some things wouldn't happen if like some other players hadn't done some other things.
Exactly.
And like,
it's perfect.
oh my gosh, so cool, so.
And remember
cool.
that lizard folk. Remember that lizard folk.
Yeah.
Great character.
Yep. So, next time we will talk about what happens in Ireland, and it's so good. It's so good. It should be next week. Probably 5:36, depending on what happens. That is the best kind of RPG game. Yes, it is.
Oh, thanks.
Absolutely, like that kind, like where you can just.
I will eventually run again.
Eventually.
After
School.
Yeah. When I have time to do that.
I will remember only the lizard knowing me.
It's important. Very important to lizard folk. Not a lizard folk.
Yeah. Not okay.
Very good character. Very good character introduction. It's not the first time the character's been introduced either. They just, had a one-off with this character once and didn't think about him. Twice, actually. And didn't think about him again.
Anyways. Oh, boy. Anyways. Also, such good stuff, even just, like, personal to my character happens next time. Like, internal. It's so good. Anyways. I might stream tomorrow. If I stream tomorrow, it'll be like 5:30 or 6 before my friend Radio Kyle streams at 8. If follow me if you're not, and then go follow Radio Kyle. It's just twitch.tv/Radio Kyle. But anyways, otherwise my next scheduled stream is Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern, and we'll see you here also next week for more RPG story time. Talk about Rasha. I love this character so much.
I'm glad.
So good.
Okay.
Anyways, woo.
Goodbye, guys. Have a good day.
Thank you for being here. It has been fun talking.